No, can't play. All right, Tisha. Just one game.
Yeah!
Us. What the hell?
Hey! You bloody pervert!
Unbelievable. I've got to get back. Steve's not working late.
Oh, come on, not yet.
I've still got the shopping to do. I'll drop you back at the car park, OK?
I don't believe it. Hey, shop! Shop! They've changed the ruddy codes again, haven't they? They've only got to tell us.
Memo circulated to all departments. Effective midday today. Part of Mr. Mullet's security drive.
Oh, yes. I must have filed it.
That'll be the day.
Your tea's getting cold, Billy.
I know, Ma.
I know you know, so come and eat it.
I thought you'd had a session at lunchtime.
Slack's one.
Better be.
Are you taking the car?
No, Anna's given me a lift. We don't need much. I won't be long. I'll tell her to come in half an hour.
All right.
I'm flying, Mum.
Just be careful. You know all about swings. You can have half an hour and that's all. And if you're not in, your dad'll be out for you.
All right, then. Bring back some ice cream.
We'll see.
Yay!
Yes. Ah, George, have you seen the memo on the new security codes?
Mm-hmm. We've all had one.
Yeah, footy. Well, where's mine, then? Unless, of course, Mr. Mullet has left me off the distribution list on the principle that if I can't actually get into the station...
Our new DCI wants you to have a look at this, sir.
Yes, what's this?
It's about the pushing kids nicking cars. Mr. Mullet feels they're getting very cocky, the joyriders.
Look, it's not joyriding. It's called car theft. It's called dangerous driving. I mean, before you know where you are, someone ends up dead and the driver's too young to be charged.
Well, that's what it says on the file.
Yes, well, I do wish Horn-Rimmed Harry would be choosy about his jargon. I mean, anyone who spends all day with his pen stuck up his R. There you are, sir. I was just telling Tulin here about his terminology, you know. Use of the word joyrider. Not much joy about the stuff we have to shovel up afterwards, is there?
Well, it's turning into an epidemic. DCI Hawk suggests a joint operation. CID, uniform, traffic.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know what the problem is, sir, don't you? You get a complaint, you go round the estate, and then no one has seen anything.
That's why we need solid support from CID.
Yes, and CID need the support of the community liaison officer. And if he'd get the community to liaise by pointing their finger at the yobs instead of us...
I'm looking for a positive response to this initiative, Jack. I'm sure that DCI Hawks will bring you up to speed.
Yes. I think he's doing one of your initiatives at the moment, sir, isn't he?
Oh, yes, excellent. Yes, the security drive. I want a much higher profile in that area. After all, security is our shield.
Yes, that's very true, sir. But I was thinking more about the fact that he's taking the snooker team through its paces for the tournament.
Ah, snooker, yes. Bit of healthy recreation. Brings us together. Breaks down the old CID uniform barriers. Helps us know that much more about what makes our colleagues tick.
I'm not sure that I want to know how my colleagues tick. I think I've misfiled something, sir.
I want this security drive prioritised.
Can you slow down a bit, Billy?
Finish.
You haven't. Sit down.
I promised to play, Mum. I'm sorry. I promised to play.
And there you have it. You see, it's as simple as that. And that's just your common garden mushy peas, which means it has a two-fold
You'll be back by 8, Billy.
Remember to use your watch.
Trisha! Trisha!
Work hard, play hard. That's how you get the best out of the job. Now, we're a team. Uniform CID, all in the same team. And on my team, we do it all. Top of the crime statistics, and we win every trophy that's going into the bargain. Starting with the county snooker tournament. OK, let's play some snooker.
Give us a pint at best, will you, Harry?
Oh, man! It's brilliant! Come on, let's do another one. Come on!
I'll see you next week.
OK, see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Trisha isn't with you.
Of course she isn't.
Well, she didn't come in.
I told her.
I thought I'd better drive round, see where she was. Then I thought that's daft if she comes back.
Bloody kids.
You said you wouldn't be long. I didn't think about going out to call her.
Well, why not? If she knows she's not to go off. Have you tried Daryl's?
Oh, I didn't think. She's bound to be.
I'll get on the phone.
I'm quite happy to run this vehicle theft operation. All I'm saying is... Shh. All I'm saying is that I want to make the decisions on how it's run. I just don't want it flung at me, sir.
Well, the superintendent wanted a strategy this afternoon. I think he's got a bunch of counsellors on his back. I didn't have time to talk to you, but it's your operation. You set it up as you want.
Thank you.
Don't want to tread on your corns, but Mr. Mullet did have a plan of his own.
Oh, I see.
Exactly. What sort of a shot's that? Look, I'm still a player short for the final. We're not quite as strong as Mr. Mullet thinks.
Well, don't look at me. I'm colourblind. Now, if it had been billiards... Oh.
Look, come on, clear the table. We're never going to beat Ridgeford like this.
You want a drink?
Yeah, I'll get him in.
Oh, good.
Can I get you a drink, Jack?
No, thanks, no. Got to keep a clear head. I'm having an evening in with my expenses. Oh. Who's the new bloke?
Oh, he's just visiting. Parker, D.C., on sick leave from the Met.
Oh, what? Dear, a piece for the wicked. All right, I'll tell you what, I'll call you if I need you. How long's she been missing?
Nearly 2 hours.
Last seen?
Well, she's on her way back from a shop in James Road with some other kids. She got separated from them during a game of hide-and-seek.
She's on her own?
Well, the other kids all live in the roads on the estate. They come back in 2 separate groups, both assuming that Trish was with the others. We've been through all the preliminaries. We've done all we can, sir.
Right, call in. Get the circus moving.
Alpha Bravo 7-2 to control.
You were on the Met team?
Yes, sir. Shepherd's Bush. They take it all a bit too seriously, though. I mean, it's only a game.
We've got a missing child on the Benningfield estate. Looks like a house-to-house and a search of the surrounding area. You know the rest.
You better leave those.
Can you drink 3, John?
Leave it out.
It could be a ground search. If you're fit enough, we could do with the help.
All right, sir.
So you were out about 20 minutes, Mr. Martin?
A bit longer. I'd left the door open. I thought Sal would be back anyway. I don't know why I panicked. I just felt something.
It's nothing that you've overlooked? No relatives or friends you might have gone to see?
We've spoken to everyone. Anyone. We don't have family down here. They're all up in Manchester.
I'm sorry if I seem to be asking the same sort of questions, but it's just that we're trying to find out where she isn't, if you see what I mean.
She knew she shouldn't go to the shop. How could the others just leave her?
Didn't know they had one.
Why aren't you looking for her now?
We are, Mrs. Martin, we are. Have there been any rows in the last few days?
Rows?
Yes. You know, disagreements, anything you had to tell Tricia off about. About her being naughty, anything like that. Any reason why she might run away.
She hasn't run away. Something's happened to her. But what's the point of asking these stupid questions?
You mentioned some recent photos.
They're in the kitchen.
All right, thank you.
House to house is in progress in the immediate area. We've spoken to the children Tricia was with. I hope we're building up some sightings now.
What about these woods?
Well, she's likely to have used this path. It skirts the woods between the estate and the main road. Most of the kids came back on it, even though some of the parents had clearly told them to avoid it.
It's a big area if she's lost. It's almost dark now.
Oh, Jack.
Yes?
What's the timetable from the parents?
Well, she was out. He was at home. He came out about 6 to try and find Tricia. But they reckon that she'd left the playground with some kids at about 5:30. What about this last sighting?
Yeah, it's Mrs. Prentice taking her dogs for a walk. She saw Tricia with a local bloke, a Billy Conrad.
Have you talked to him?
No, just the parents. He's not back home yet. They don't know where he is.
It was about 5:30. I was walking the dogs about 5:30. 5:45 by then, I suppose.
I didn't think anything of it. Everyone knows Billy.
He was talking to Tricia.
Yeah, I was some way away.
What were we doing, walking along?
He was, I don't know, bending down.
Bending down?
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah.
When you say bending down, what do you mean? Was he talking to her, doing up his shoelaces? What?
He was bending down in front of her, I suppose. Or he could have been kneeling with his arm...
He was touching her?
Oh, I don't... I mean, you know, it was a split second. I mean, yeah, he could have been, but no. No, he couldn't have been anything. You'd see them playing together hundreds of times.
Playing together? I thought this Billy was 19 or 20. That's a bit odd, isn't it?
No. There's no harm in him. Billy's retarded, whatever the word is.
Oh, that's helpful.
He's got Down syndrome. He's like a child himself.
I see. So, when she ran off into the woods, he chased after her.
Mm.
And he was angry.
Well, not angry exactly. I couldn't really hear.
You were too far away.
Yeah. There was this motorbike coming out of the woods. They used the place like a racetrack. Cars, bikes.
And the rider of this bike?
Oh, I've no idea. Dark clothes and helmet. He was gone in a second.
Mm.
I didn't think there was anything strange about Billy.
I shall have to have someone with me when I talk to him. That's just routine. Mr. Conrad, he would be considered mentally subnormal.
Handicapped?
Handicapped, sorry. That means I shall have to have someone else with me just to keep an eye on him, you know, in case I break the rules.
He'll feel better if I can clean him up.
No, I'd rather talk to him first. Please, Mrs. Conrad.
It's all right, love. Billy?
I don't anything, Dad.
No one's saying you have, son. This is Mr. Frost, Billy. He wants to ask you something.
Hello, Billy. We must have frightened you. There you were, walking home, nice quiet night, and all of a sudden there was police and dogs and people shouting.
I was frightened.
Yes, I'm sure you were. Do you know what those policemen were doing? See, they were looking for someone. They were looking for Tricia Martin. You know Tricia, don't you, Billy?
Yes, she's my friend.
Yes, she's your friend. Well, her mum and dad are very worried about her. They'd like to find her. And so would we, Billy. Now, we think that you might be able to help. You saw Tricia this evening, didn't you? Yeah. Where was that?
In a playground.
Playground? That's the playground just outside the house where she lives?
Yes.
Yes. What time is it?
Coming home from workshop before tea.
Just about 4.
What do you mean, workshop? What's that mean?
The sheltered workshop in Old Thorpe Road.
I work there.
Oh. So, you had your tea, and your mum and dad said you went out again. That when you saw Tricia, you saw her again after tea? Where'd you go?
I don't know.
Look, it's very important that we find Tricia. See, because she might be hurt, frightened. And if she's hurt and she's fallen down somewhere, she might not be able to get up again. So we need to find her. Can you help, Billy? Maybe you bumped into her on the way. Perhaps you were talking to her by Bassett Avenue, the bottom of the woods.
I didn't go that way.
Oh.
Billy, you said you were going out to play.
No, Dad. Walk by the river.
Do you know Mrs. Prentice, Billy?
Yes.
She said she saw you. She said she saw you in the woods talking to Tricia.
I didn't see her. I didn't see her. Didn't see Tricia. I didn't see her.
Oh, come on, what's all this?
Well, we can hardly keep it a secret, sir.
Well, get uniform to move them on, because they're only getting a bloody way. OK. All right, Billy, I want you to go in this car with your mum.
No, please, Carl.
Mr. Conrad, you come with me.
Get in, Billy.
We've got our hands on most of the local nonces. They're being interviewed, several unaccounted for. I haven't had a chance to talk to Inspector Frost yet, but I'm going to be relying on him for his local knowledge.
Is this Billy Conrad, a suspect or a witness?
He's the last person the girl was seen with at this point. And when we picked him up, he refused to say where he'd been or to account for the state he was in. Jack's bringing him in.
He's retarded?
Yeah. I guess that's why Jack's having to take it slowly.
It's over 5 hours now. I don't think slowly is an option.
I can't tell you why Billy won't talk. It's not like him.
Billy likes playing with children, then, does he?
They take him at face value. A lot of people can't do that.
Forgive my ignorance, Mr. Conrad, but because of Billy's mental age, he gets on easier with children than adults. Is that what you're saying?
There's nothing wrong with being fond of kids.
No. It's just that the disappearance of a child affects everyone, police included. Makes you think in ways you don't want to think. We all come out of this a lot less human than what we went in. For instance, I'm going to have to ask you, how does your son cope with sex?
Billy doesn't lie. He doesn't.
Maybe he forgets things. Gets confused about when things happen.
When he's upset, it isn't because he's done any harm to her. We know that. Dave, say something for God's sake.
No, he'd never have
He shouldn't
touched
have to
her.
be left like this. It's humiliating enough. If he could have a wash and some clean clothes.
I think it's... Well, it's because of forensic. In case they want to take samples.
Superintendent Mallet wants to know if this boy is a suspect. So do I.
I don't know.
Possible? Probable?
Well, he was seen with her. That's all we've got.
Mrs. Prentice's statement suggests he could have been touching the girl before she ran off. We're running out of time, Jack. Handicapped or not, we've got to have some answers.
Yes, I know. I've got his social worker coming in as an appropriate adult.
She might be too close to him, too involved. She gets in the way, chuck her out and get in another appropriate adult.
Yeah, that's a bit drastic, isn't it? She might have some value.
I'll back you. So will Mr. Mullet.
I wouldn't bet my pension on that. Frost! Yes, I am. Mackintosh. Yeah. Ms., I shouldn't wonder. Thank you. All right, Toolan, put away the electrodes. We've got a social worker on the premises. Tell me, is Billy honest?
Very.
Then why is it that he won't tell me where he was? He was clearly seen with Tricia Martin near the woods. Listen, we're not in trick cyclist territory here, are we? He knows what's going on.
He's handicapped, not mentally ill.
All right. So, he knows that Tricia's missing. Does he know what that means?
I doubt he really understands the kind of dangers a child could encounter. His view of the world is far more innocent than ours. Billy's a very gentle boy.
Boy? He's not a boy. He's nearly 20.
If you want to know if Billy's really a man, why don't you just ask Inspector? He has a perfectly normal sex drive. The fact that he's handicapped doesn't change that.
His father doesn't think he's got a sex drive at all.
It isn't easy for parents.
Yeah, well, my concern at the moment is to try and find Tricia Martin. It's her parents I'm bothered about. Right, Billy. I'm going to try and find out everything about Tricia. You know, what happened to her. Where she went. Who she was with. Who saw her. So that we can build up a sort of, picture from all sorts of people. Do you know what clues are?
Yes.
All right. Well, you see, if we can get enough clues, we can find out where Tricia is. You're Tricia's friend?
Of course I am.
Yeah, well, if you're Tricia's friend, you'd want to help her, wouldn't you? Try and find out where she is.
Billy, Mr. Frost wants to find Tricia and bring her home. He's worried someone's taken her away when she didn't want to go.
Bad man. How do you see her?
Right, Billy. Tell us what happened.
I went out. Walked through the woods. And Tricia was there.
She was there? You saw Tricia?
She wanted to play.
Where were all the other children?
Gone. But I didn't want to play. I had to. She said going to tell.
Tell what?
Secret, that's why. got to stop her. I won't do anything.
I don't think that's quite true, is it, Millie? I think Tricia ran into the trees and you chased after her.
Plain hide and seek. She didn't want to go home. She made me late.
You were going somewhere? Where? Well, you're pissing us about. She could be dead.
Dead?
Yes, you see, you left her and nobody's seen her since.
Not in the woods. I left her. I left her by the path near her house.
She's disappeared, Billy. Do you know anything about that? Tricia was running away from you, Billy. Now, why was she doing that? Is it because something that you had done to her? You touched her? That's what you were going to try and stop her saying?
I never do that. I helped her. Almost she fell over.
Fell over?
Her knee's bleeding. See? This is a clue.
Mr. Conrad has just put a blood-stained handkerchief onto the table. Yes?
You told me to call you, sir.
Yes, right.
Sergeant Wells has just entered the room and left with D.I. Frost. Interview suspended 23:40.
I think I better talk to the parents.
I'd like to stick with that, sir.
Something I should know about?
No, I'm not saying that. It's just that at this stage I'd like to keep close to them, that's all.
Well, I'm not a desk man, Jack. Never have been. I'll let you know if something else comes out of it, but I think your time will be better spent getting some answers out of Conrad.
Your shout, sir. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. I think we've got ourselves lumbered with a DCI who likes to keep his hand in. That's all we need.
Well, the cause of death was probably a blow to the back of the head.
All right, well, what are we talking about? Was she attacked? Was it an accident? Was there a weapon involved?
Well, I can't tell at the moment. I mean, she may have been struck from behind, or she could have hit her head as a result of a fall. Whatever it was a pretty severe blow. I'll have a clear idea after the post-mortem.
All right, thanks. Any idea of the time of death?
Oh, between 5 and 6:30. 7 at the outside. I won't get it any closer than that.
All right. Just one more thing, Doc. Was she molested?
Oh, as far as I can tell at the moment, no. I would say there was some sort of struggle, though. Look, I've got a suicide at Fulford. I'll let you have the rest as soon as I can.
All right, thanks, Doc.
Oh, excuse me.
Mr. Martin, Chief Inspector Hawkes.
Is there any news?
Can I come in?
She's dead.
We've found the body of a young girl in Bennyfield Woods. Obviously, there'll need to be a formal identification, but we believe it is Tricia.
We're going to be keeping Billy in overnight.
He's never been on his own like this. Can't we bring him back tomorrow? If he could just get some sleep.
Billy is going to stay here until he tells us where he was, Mrs. Conrad.
She's dead.
Yes.
No, not dead.
I saw the dead body, all covered in mud and leaves in the woods where you were. And look at you. Look, you're all covered in mud, aren't you?
Wasn't me.
You were angry with her. You thought that she was going to tell your secret. Maybe you hit her and you picked something up.
For God's sake, Inspector, I'm
Yes,
not...
thank you, Ms. McIntosh.
My responsibility...
If you've got any complaints, you can send them in later. Send a couple of copies to Mr. and Mrs. Martin. She was going to tell your mum and dad, wasn't she? That's why you chased after her.
Mr. Frost, it's now quite clear that you're treating Billy as a suspect.
What?
Well, are you?
Yes, and I'd like to get on with it.
Then perhaps you do him the courtesy of cautioning him. Or is that something the handicapped don't qualify for in this station?
No, of course, you're right. Caution him.
Billy Conrad, you do not have to say anything unless you wish to do so. But what you do say may be given in evidence. I must also advise you that you are entitled to consult a solicitor privately at any time.
The police still want to ask you some questions. Are you happy to answer them?
To help Tricia. Does he want a solicitor?
It won't help Billy to have another stranger here. I'll talk to him if I feel that changes. Billy, did you have anything to do with Tricia's death?
No.
The inspector thinks you did.
No.
If you tell him the truth, then he won't need to think that anymore.
All right, Billy. Let's continue. Why were you so angry at Tricia?
Tricia knows.
Tricia knows? What does she know?
I'm getting married.
Married? Who are you getting married to?
Jane.
Who's Jane?
She's my girlfriend.
You were with Jane.
We're going to get married.
I think Billy has an alibi, Mr. Frost.
Obviously, we know she was still alive just before 6 when she was last seen with Billy Conrad.
And he is now saying he walked off through the woods, leaving Tricia to go home.
That's right. He claims he went on to the residential home at Oaklands to see his girlfriend, Jane Kennedy.
Is she mentally handicapped too?
Yeah, that's right. Down syndrome, same as Billy. Ms. McIntosh knows her.
What time does Conrad say he got to the residential home?
Oh, I don't know. He's very vague about it. But if he's telling the truth, it still means he was hanging about Benningfield Woods for about an hour.
Is he offering this encounter as an alibi?
No, he wouldn't know what the word meant. He says the reason why he didn't tell the truth straight away is because he didn't want anyone to know about his girlfriend.
Hardly the picture of innocence we're getting from some quarters. Is there anything previous on him? Any complaints?
No, nothing on record.
I think we need to look into his relationship with children on the estate, though.
Anything on any of these other witnesses? The man with the motorbike. He could well have seen Conrad and the girl after Mrs. Prentice.
We're doing all we can. We got several descriptions of vehicles in the area. We're also trying to trace the joyriders who burned the car. I think we might have to come up with some kind of amnesty if we want them to come forward.
Yes, I suppose so. But Conrad is our main line of inquiry now. If he is our man, I want the quickest route to the truth, without a trip up every byway, Jack. We've already had warning bells from the estate. Well, feelings are bound to run high. Young families,